Melting runoff from mountains of snow, combined with rainfall 10 times greater than average, spread over a 200,000 square mile area within the Mississippi River's watershed and produced the Great Flood of 2011, which swelled our nation's mightiest river to historic levels. Epic floodwaters required heroic responses to manage record-setting flows that surpassed the Great Flood of 1927. Our nation could ill afford a repeat of the 1927 calamity. The Great Flood of 1927 claimed 500 lives, left 600,000 people homeless, and spread its chocolate tide in a path of destruction 80 miles wide and 1,000 miles long, inundating more than 26,000 square miles from Cape Girardeau, Missouri, to the head of passes in Louisiana. The response also required using every flood control resource within the Mississippi River watershed, the third largest in the world, to decrease the height of historic crest levels during the flood's most dangerous hours. Components of the link system include levees, berms, flood walls, reservoirs, channel control structures, floodways, pumping plants, and revetments. Reservoirs and lakes along the Ohio, Missouri, and upper Mississippi rivers were filled to capacity and exceeded historic levels to help keep the lower river's crest from overtopping the Mississippi River and tributary system's flood control structures. Without the use of the reservoir system along the Ohio River, the river would have crested above 65 feet at Cairo, Illinois. Still, the reservoirs were not enough to stem the steadily rising river, and the Birds Point, New Madrid floodway had to be activated on May 2nd to relieve pressure on flood protection structures.
This is a historic flood. There's water in places that people has never seen before. I've ordered the district commander to operate the project. We're supposed to operate it at 61 and rising, and it's 61.4, and so this is the right time to operate it. Fire in the hole!
Fire in the hole!
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Floodways allow rivers to follow natural floodplains at critical reaches of the river. Over a 3-day period, activation of the Birds Point, New Madrid floodway reduced the forecasted crests near Hickman, Paducah, Smithland, and Fulton County, Kentucky by almost 4 feet and lowered the crest by almost 3 feet at Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Activation of the floodway also prevented the river from overtopping federal levees in a 4-state area. As the flood moved further south, Major General Walsh and the Mississippi River Commission ordered the operation of the Bonnie Carey Spillway on May 9th to keep the volume of river flows passing New Orleans at 1.25 million cubic feet per second. The spillway protects the integrity of levees and flood walls that protect New Orleans. General Walsh and the MRC then ordered the Morganza floodway opened on May 14th. The operation order called for the structure's deliberate and slow opening to help spread the water gradually to reduce human, environmental, and wildlife impacts. Morganza is located 310 river miles above New Orleans. The operation of both Morganza and Bonnie Carey lowered the flood crest at New Orleans and Baton Rouge by 2.5 feet, protecting a 200-mile-long corridor of the nation's business resources. This year's flood also made history with the opening of Morganza because it represented the first time that all 3 floodways have operated simultaneously. By operating the MR&T system as designed, including the floodways, the value of this investment to our nation can be counted by what we have not lost: lives, critical infrastructure for the energy industry, and more than $60 billion in damages to homes and businesses. During the peak of the flooding, the Corps' flood fighters, levee boards, states, and National Guardsmen worked around the clock to control sand boils and guard against trouble spots wherever and whenever needed. Fortunately, the river did not overtop the Yazoo backwater levees, sparing some 24,000 acres of rich farmland. Although the river's last crest was at the Red River Landing on May 22nd, the nation must remain vigilant and keep a close eye on the system until the danger has passed. MR&T navigation channel improvements are also a critical part of the flood control system during this historic event. Still, the Corps has worked closely with the U.S. Coast Guard to protect flood control structures. Although the Coast Guard closed and restricted barge traffic during the highest flood stages, navigation is currently open on the river. Each year, more than 500 million tons of cargo are transported on the inland waterways system, and the river commerce is vital to our national economy and international trade. The United States is a maritime nation. The Mississippi River Commission and the Corps have never claimed to tame the Mississippi River, only manage it within the confines of the MR&T system. And the system is performing as designed. But if a flood of the same magnitude is to be managed in the future, we must begin work to repair, rebuild, and reinvest in the infrastructure that saved so much and so many in 2011.